Good evening, my name is Albert Singer. I've always lived in a small town in Texas, and in December I'll turn 46 years old. Over the years, I've encountered many strange and frightening things along these roads. When I was a boy, my grandmother used to tell me stories about how the world was created and why the creatures of the night were the most dangerous. The creatures she spoke of were those we couldn't see, beings that could become visible or invisible, depending on the person. Pay close attention, because this is the absolute truth. All the animals that appear at night are the most dangerous. She told me that the reason for this was that when evil spread in the world through sin, God blinded the most dangerous creatures and confined them to the night, which was precisely when everyone should be sleeping and safe in their homes. Anyone who dared to venture out on the roads at night did so at their own risk, but God had left the entire day for working and traveling anywhere. But when night came, everyone should take shelter and go to sleep. She spoke of a blind creature that navigated the darkness of the night by the sound of our footsteps or the cries of children. The name of this thing was the creeper. Many people believe that the creeper punishes disobedient children who don't go to bed early. But in reality, this creature hears a child's cry from afar and comes dancing along the roads or through the forest. The noise it makes, which sounds like a pig, is the sound of its stomach. Or it could also be its growl, wanting to devour children. Some thought this way and others thought differently. Anyone who encountered this spirit on the roads was also lost because it sensed the person's steps through its dance. My grandmother said that the creeper didn't dance. People saw that horrible being that lived among the trees and came out at night swaying and spinning and thought it was dancing. However, it stomped its feet on the ground to feel the vibration and know where the person was. Whoever stayed still and didn't move escaped to tell the story, but whoever got scared and ran was caught and devoured. Some said it only ate the person's feet and hands. Others believe the creature carried the person away to eat them whole in the woods. When I was younger, I loved playing with my friends until late. Sometimes, my dad had to come get us with a whip in hand because a bunch of kids would gather to play cat and mouse and hide and seek. Near where we lived, there was a grove that was the preferred spot for hiding. We were warned not to go into the woods because of snakes and other animals, but it was no use. Once, I was forbidden to go out and play hide and seek and stood at the door of my house watching the other kids play. Since my parents were very busy preparing some meat, I took the opportunity to play with my friends without them noticing. Then time passed and night fell. There came a point when I was hidden in the grove and no one could find me. I stayed there very quietly, listening to the other children shouting and running, and managed not to be found by anyone. But the problem was that time passed and I began to find the silence strange. I no longer heard my friends or their shouts on the road. It seemed like I was there alone and everyone had left without telling me. I thought that was it and decided to give myself up so we could start playing again. At that moment, I started walking and heard a horrible snore in the middle of the trees. It was a scary sound that left me terrified. I screamed for help, but there was total silence. I was there alone. The darkness in the grove was as thick as pitch, and I could barely see what was in front of me. I heard a horrible sound of footsteps around me and a snore that wouldn't stop. Only I know what I went through there, trying to see what that thing was in the grove with me, but seeing nothing. I trembled a lot and couldn't find the way out to get back home. I cried with fear, sobbing, while running with that thing behind me, shaking the trees and stomping its feet on the ground. When I managed to get my bearings a bit, I ran like a bullet through the trees. That thing didn't catch me only because I didn't run in a straight line and used all the strength I had in my legs to get out of there. When I reached the road, I didn't look back to see what it was. I only stopped because I passed in front of a friend's house, and his parents saw me screaming and crying. His mother ran out and brought me some sugar water. She asked me where I had been, and I told her everything that had happened. I said I had snuck out of the house to play with my friends and was chased by something. I begged her not to tell my parents because I risked getting a beating. After I calmed down, she promised not to say anything, but that I should straighten up and not leave the house without telling anyone. She gave me a huge scolding. My friend, who was inside the house, had also gone through something similar. He had been home for a long time and was also very scared of something. His mother took the cup and called his name for him to come out and tell me what he had also seen. When he came out, I saw that his eyes were red from crying so much. He told me that while playing with other boys, he saw a horrible creature that came out of the woods. Everyone ran and cried in fear because that thing spun and bent down with frightening speed. When everyone fled, he was left behind, alone with that creature. When my father found out, he almost gave me a beating, but he spared me because he saw how shaken I was. However, I got a scolding and was grounded for a long time. No one would believe our story if it weren't for so many children who also saw the creature and came home crying. Because of this, everyone believed. My friend and I also had severe diarrhea and couldn't sleep properly for several nights. Even my grandmother heard about that night and remembered the stories she knew. To this day, I remember that rush and imagine all my friends desperately running to their homes. Just thinking that I was hiding in the grove, not knowing what was happening, gives me chills. I keep wondering what saved me from being caught by the creeper. Only God knows. By the grace of God, I managed to escape and get out of there alive. Today, I think that thing could have caught any of us because it was very fast and fierce. I think it didn't do it because it can't see and is guided by the ground and the noise a person makes. Nowadays, I wouldn't have escaped because I can't run like I used to. For these reasons, I don't like going out at night on these roads at all. What if I encounter the creeper and it does what it didn't do to me when I was a boy?